Hello, StarCraft fans! I am Nyoken, and we are back with another cast brought to you by StarCastTV. This time around, gonna be a little bit different. We've got a Protoss versus Zerg, and in the top left, it is none other than Mini. Meanwhile, our Zerg player, it is going to be Action, and if you guys watch our cast of the ASL, you know I am a big fan of Action every single season. I think that this guy could go the distance. I think he could make it all the way to the finals. That's how good he is. But in this particular matchup, it's gonna be tough because he's going up against one of our previous ASL champions in Mini, someone that's extremely deadly in Protoss versus Zerg. You know, he revolutionized the game a couple seasons ago, going for that fast cybernetics versus Queen, absolutely crushed him. And now every time I see him play, I wonder to myself, okay, how's this guy going to streamline his build even better than he's done in the past? So far, we are going to have a 9-gate from Mini, and our map is Retro, a new ASL map. Now, I gotta let you guys know, there has been an epic game between Soma and Best on the Ultimate Battle stream, or Ultimate Battle channel on YouTube. You should definitely consider watching that game, because that is one of the best Protoss vs Zergs and craziest Protoss vs Zergs I've ever seen. Now this was an interesting scout pattern, going to top middle. Didn't see the Overlord, so now he's hooking down to bottom right, and he's going to get lucky here and find Mini pretty much with his first scout, or find Action, I mean. And that probe, I think he got the first hit, so drone's gotta run away. Yeah, you gotta get out of there, dude. And that drone might actually die. He's gotta be very careful to find the angle to make sure he doesn't get cut off by the probe. Now back in Action's main, we did have the 12 hatch and the pool. Now what I'm always looking for is what's the gas timing. If we see something like 230, 240 gas, it's pretty standard. We saw something like 2-minute gas, very, very low eco, probably going to be rushing Mutalisk. Now back on Mini side of the map, did he just skip Zealot altogether? Okay, he did. He went for a gate expand, saw that this is a 12 hatch, and decided, well, can't get much damage done, so I'm just going to take a Nexus myself. And I like it. I gotta say, I don't think I've really seen anybody ever do that, but I like it. I think he'll be able to put down his cybernetics potentially really quickly. He knows that there's no lings out in the map to really prevent that from happening, and we may have a really streamlined build like I was talking about earlier. Now the gas did start at around 250-ish, so this is going to be big time eco for Action, and anytime we get into a macro game with Action, I really like his position. This guy is just god tier with the macro. He knows how to balance his larva, balance his econ, and this should be a big slugfest. Now what is this building? It is the cybernetics, so we do have a very streamlined build for both sides. I think that this is a complete wall here, so even though this looks like a massive gap, I think you only have to worry about this position right here. You know, Retro is a new map, so admittedly, I don't have experience playing it. And in the main, we've got a pretty darn fast forge, so this is going to be rushing +1. And back in Mini's main, or Action's main, why do I keep calling him Mini, man? I guess I'm just such a big fan of Mini, I just keep thinking about him. Well, we do have Lair, and it's about halfway done. Probe is not really getting much intel. He does keep it alive, so he does get at least a read that, hey, this guy doesn't have speed. Doesn't seem to have an overwhelming amount of lings, so that's fine. And we do have a cannon coming up just in case he ended up missing something. Meanwhile, Stargate halfway done. +1 weapon is already started as expected. Now this +1 weapon is pretty fast, so we may have something like a 645 move out, but that's so quick I don't know if he'll actually have speed. Now meanwhile, that probe gets picked off, but it survived long enough that I don't think it's a big loss. Spire's coming down, and in Action's main, I'm just checking what's our drone count. We've got 8 here, we've got 2 here. You know, this is not like a 973, of course, because of the Lair and the Spire, but always want to keep track of those drones, see how much econ Zerg actually has, figure out whether they're all-inning or not. Still no speed. Now that could be a giveaway to Mini that, hey, Hydras aren't coming, or maybe Hydras are coming if you don't see speed. But something to note that Zerg doesn't have it just yet. First Corsair is moving across, and he's gonna be pretty happy that he's just gonna see, you know, the Spire and really nothing else, just Drone Man. Looking at the workers, I can see 35 probes to 30 drones, so Econ's great for Zerg right now. Now what I am worried about is, okay, looked like Mini had cut a little bit, because we were still sitting at 35 for quite a while, but Citadel finally comes down. We are going to have a move out. Like I said, +1 weapon was pretty freaking fast. This is going to complete in the next minute or so, so we may have like a 7-minute timing, but I don't think he's going to have speed by then, so I'm not sure how effective these Zealots are. But he's actually not waiting for the +1 weapon. He's just going with four Zealots. I guess he's not happy to see that Zerg powered so hard, and he wants to force a little bit of non-drones out of these larvae. We do have Hatch coming down, Evolution Chamber coming down. There's a decent amount of lings, but I think Protoss might actually still win this fight. Good stutter step micro right there. You can see that the Overlord is actually going to die. Does not supply block action though, so that's crucial for him. And these might be surrounded. They're going to get a good angle here. Basically full surface area really, and those are going to get eliminated quite quickly. And to me, that seems like a bit of a mistake, because look at how close his +1 weapon was, right? If he had +1 weapon, he would have traded much better. He's not even getting speed. What is this? Did he just forget? Maybe he's prioritizing, you know, more gates, faster Templar and Storm, now that he doesn't have any Zealots. We do have a Zealot run by, or attempted run by, but all he's really going to do is maybe catch one Hydra. Oh, maybe get a drone? No, he's not going to get anything really. So good defense there from Action. And dude, weren't we basically even in workers a moment ago? Look at that. We have shot up all the way to 50 probes in just the blink of an eye. And now that we have our probe count this high, it's time to flood gates, my man. I want to see 4, 5, 6 gateways coming down, really start to ramp up that production, because we know Zerg is going to be pumping out a ton of Hydras pretty soon. The Corsair count has reached 5 already. Didn't realize that it was already this high. Doesn't seem like he got that many Overlords though. Well, maybe he did. 2 kills there. Kind of hard to click, figure out exactly what's going on, but he does confirm that at least there is Overlord speed, so he may have a big attack pretty soon. 6 Hatch coming down. Another Overlord getting spotted, but not able to get taken down. And we do have the 6 gate. I'd really like to see him put down a couple more, especially with a probe count like this. You can really afford 8 gates easily, sometimes even 9 or 10, depending on what your actual comp is. I like his +1 armor, halfway done. And really, we're just waiting for someone to make a move. This DT is also waiting for Zerg to make a move so he can get in there and swipe some drones. But because he lost all those Zealots, Protoss not really feeling confident to move out into the map. You know, his army's really tiny right now. 2 Zealots, a DT, 3 Templars, and about 7 or so Corsairs. That's it. He does spot the drone going to bottom left, so he's going to be aware of where the hatch is going to be placed as a 4th base. And this seems like a pretty fast 4th base to me from Action. That signals to me that he is willing to go into the late game if he needs to. He's not going to just try and win the game with just Hydra Lurker, for example. And you know, more and more often these days, I'm actually seeing a lot of Zerg players just be willing to sit and just power up like exactly what we're seeing. Now this DT should get a cancel on this hatchery, so this is well done. The Overlord has no way to get in here, so that's going to be pretty nice, and I would expect probably Action to send out a drone up here to take another base at mid-right. Is this going to really die? Is he just going to let it die? Wow, he lets it die, and that's a big loss. 300 minerals down the drain plus the drone, and Mini's going to use this to advantage. He's going to take his opportunity to go take a 3rd base while he knows that the Hydras are, you know, not really in position to deny it. We've got Zealots moving to the right side again. This is a very low unit count, but 1-1 has kicked in. So I'm not too sure exactly what this is going to really accomplish, but you can see Action's just content now to just, I guess, try and go for a bust on his 6 hatches at some point. Supplies are decently high, 120 to 100, but we've got the range coming in pretty soon. We've got the robotics already done. So Protoss is going to hit their 2-1 or 2-2 power spike pretty... Oh, no he is not, because that forge is not spinning. That's a big mistake from Mini there. He desperately needs to get his +2 armor. Meanwhile, look at this trade. 6 Zealots for absolutely nothing. Really nice morph on the Lurkers. Overlords or Corsairs going to try and take this opportunity to pop a few Overlords, but really there's just nothing to attack. This really looks like what you see in Terran versus Zerg, where Zerg just camps, waits until their 4th base kicks in, and then explodes on the map. And despite having a big army with the Hydras and Lurkers, you know, that's exactly what's happening. He's willing to just let Protoss take a 3rd base, and meanwhile just take a 4th base himself. I like how he leaves 1 Lurker here, so these Zealots can't deny this, and if they do, they're going to take a lot of damage. Yeah, smart move there from Mini to turn around, but this single DT, man, he's back for more. And if you could deny this, this could be fantastic. We've got a big engagement here. Overlords are going to start falling, but he does pop like 3 of the Corsairs, so that's a good trade for him. What are the upgrades? Okay, just +1 weapon for Zerg. Oh, he did finally start his +2 weapon, but I don't see a 2nd forge anywhere, unless I'm missing it. I'm not, because I'm looking at the top left upgrades. So his upgrades are way behind. You can tell that he must have just forgotten it, because +2 weapon is almost done for Zerg, whereas +2 weapon for Protoss just started, and really versus +2 weapon Zerg, you really need to have that armor upgrade. So if Protoss gets out into the map with a lack of AoE, like let's say he only has like 4 Templars or so, he's going to be in a world of hurt, because these Hydras and Lurkers are going to hit like a truck. We may finally have an engagement in the center, but really there's not much here. Both players just going to get a couple of shots off and back off. And back in Zerg's main, do we have Queen's Nest? Don't see it. So it's still just Hydra Lurker, man, but at least Zerg does have mid-right. Doesn't need to drone up, though. Now we are approaching the point in the game where Protoss does get scary, but with the lack of the +2 weapon or +2 armor, his Dragoon Zealot Templar push is not going to be nearly as scary as it could be. Supplies are very, very close. 165 to 145. Really, almost the only difference you can see is just in the worker count. So I'd like to see Action pump out a few more drones, especially since he has this base at mid-right, and really get his econ rolling. And because we really haven't had any trades out on the map, Protoss has a lot of energy, has a very strong army. Oh, we actually had a drop, but it got intercepted by the main army and the Overlords, and the Corsairs. So he's gonna have to unload. That's a good storm. Does he lose any of the Overlords? Not really, but he lost all of his Corsairs. And I'm sure that's gonna trigger a Muta switch in just a second. Let's check those eggs, if they're morphing anywhere. Nope. I don't see any Mutas, at least not just yet. Nope, I guess he doesn't realize that he killed all of the Corsairs, but again, we've got more Hydras trading right here. Worker count 56 to 51. Oh, I didn't even realize a Lurker drop at top middle and in the natural, shutting down both bases all at the same time. So really good trade for Action there. The Storms are dealing a lot of damage to these Hydras, but shutting down both bases is fantastic. You can see supplies are still pretty even though, despite that, but really shutting down this 3rd base. Look how many probes are not mining. Upwards of 20 workers. Meanwhile, we still just have relentless attacks at this side of the map. He baited out so many storms, he feels like he can bust, but this single Templar by himself has 3 storms available. But those Hydras are getting in on top of the army. The Dragoons are falling left and right. He's gonna bust this. Now remember, these Overlords have drop capability, so he could bust mid-left, or he could just forget all that and just make a drop straight to the main. These Lurkers pulled a lot of units out of position, so a drop into the main could be fantastic. Meanwhile, here comes Mini. Does he remember that this guy has drops? And it looks like the answer is no. He's moving out. He can't make a decision. Now he's coming back into the main to try and save his base. And is there really that much in here? It's just 16 Hydras. I don't think this is actually that much and shouldn't really do that much damage, but I like the lurker positioning between the natural and the 4th base. So now he can really just cut off this base. I guess he doesn't realize this just yet, because he hasn't busted it. He moves in, tries to pick off a Templar, but all he does in the end is eat a big storm. Now let's look at actions eco. Okay, he's really got not much mining here. Now he's finally realized that, hey, I need a few more drones pumping out a little bit more. More and more Hydras just streaming across the map, though. It's still lair tech, no Queen's Nest or anything. So yes, Zerg is strong with the +2 weapon, but where's his armor? Where's his hive? It's nowhere to be found. We've got a single DT and there's no Overlord, and you know what that means. It means goodbye drones. 2, 3, the entire drone line is going to get decimated. But mid left, I'm surprised he hasn't busted this. He's going to go in for another drop, but he clipped the Zealot over there. Okay, there we go. He is going to move in here with the drop behind the cannons. That's a smart move. And the DT did get taken out at mid-right. So he's eliminated that threat while also taking down the 4th base. And Mini's getting desperate now. Because look, his Nat's about to mine out. Main's pretty much already gone. He's got to make a move over here to do something, man. If he moves over here to take a base, I think he just gets instantly countered in his main. So it is desperation. He's trying to try and whittle down the lurkers, get rid of all the Hydras. And that was a good trade, but it's still 4-base Zerg. Action just needs to transfer a few workers. And meanwhile, in the main, a big drop hasn't really shut down anything key just yet. Oh my gosh, a huge cycle of Templars. He jumps on it instantly. 1 gone, 2 gone. He's also going to take down the Templar Archive, and there's a drop in the natural. Lurker actually doesn't get any probe kills. He's going to try and redrop. Maybe right... Oh, he ran into the cannon. That could have been an amazing drop, though. But either way, the drop in the main now has done decent damage, taking down a couple Templars and the Templar Archive. And Protoss is really about to be reset down to 1 base mining. Meanwhile, Zerg's still sitting pretty on about 3 bases. Still, mid-right needs to get up and running. But look at the just size of the arc that Zerg has. And because of how far this base is, if there's any movement over here, like I said, Zerg will just instantly counterattack. So this looks like it is Action's game to take unless there's some type of miracle, storm, or engagement from our Protoss player. We've got another drop onto basically the only mining position. All of the probes lined up. That was a good transfer. There are so many probes here. If he lost it, that could have been game ending. You see finally, basically for the first time, Mini's below Zerg supply, and that's never a position you want to be in. Protoss still just on 2-1 upgrades. He's got the double forge. He lost the forge in the main. I guess that was also upgrading, so he probably picked it off mid-upgrade. I hear another drop, another lurker drop going to be going either to top middle or top left. Still no Queen's Nest. He's really relying heavily on these lurkers and Hydras. He knows that Protoss is desperate. I guess he just wants to starve him out, really. Doesn't want to go for late game, doesn't want to risk spending those extra resources on Hive, where it will let Protoss actually get back and take a 4th base. Protoss has a really strong army now, though. This is 7 Templars. We've got Archon started to get mixed in. We've got a lot of goons. And now he's going to trade favorably, of course, with an army like this. But here comes that drop. Here we go. This Overlord, he is up to no good, but smartly we've got a cannon in the mineral line now. Still, he's going to unload regardless, try and trade, get a good trade. He gets a couple, but that wasn't the damage he was looking for. Good storm eliminates that threat. And he still has a lot of probes left over, so he can just instantly resend those. And now he's actually stabilized mid-left. Zerg has a very fearsome army, but where does he attack into a comp like this? Also, this is uphill. So really the only real angle he can get is just non-stop drops. And that's what he's doing. He's loading up another drop, but the entire army is over on the left side ready to intercept. Okay, we're going to have a Doom drop on top of these cannons. But there's a lot of Storm available here. 3 Templars, 2 Zealots. Those will soak up a lot of hits. Here we go, the Doom drop. Great Storm, the Overlords. A couple of them don't even unload. Another fantastic Storm. And Action is plummeting in supply. This is not the trade that he wanted at all. Protoss really didn't lose almost anything. And now I'm very worried for Action because his main's mined out. Nat's basically mined out. Mid-right never really got saturated. He's stuck on Hydra Lurker. And Protoss has stabilized 4 bases now. How did this happen? Oh no, oh no, no, no. We cannot transfer probes into lurkers. Partly he's going to save them. But these lurkers are not long for this world. I think this is the best move that Action could go for was a counterattack, but I just keep remembering, dude, this is uphill. How are you ever going to trade like that? The probes managed to barely get by. Whoa, another drop. Didn't even see it. He got a couple more probe kills. Actually, more than a couple. He got like 10. So that was great. But still, Zerg struggling with their army and not having big econ. I realize Protoss has lost a lot of probes here, but you gotta remember, he also has 4 Nexus, so that can get rebuilt quite quickly. And his army's still insane. Like, it's still mass goon, a lot of Templars, a lot of Zealots. Whereas Zerg is still just +2 weapon. He hasn't even attempted to upgrade armor. Well, we may be in for a long game here, as now Zerg finally realized that, hey, I can't actually bust anywhere. I need to start taking more bases on the map. Top right gets scouted, but Protoss is going to be feeling pretty good that, hey, you don't have the top right side at all just yet? Maybe I'm not actually out of it. And Protoss is on 4 gases, so he can build, you know, those cheap mineral Templars, high gas units very easily. But Zerg is approaching max, so is Mini though. You know what's funny is, when was the last time you actually saw Protoss move across the map at all? Like, he's just been consistently camping this side. And these Zealots going to bottom left also confirm that there's no bases down here. So he realizes that, hey, this is a 4 base versus 4 base situation. You're just now taking 5 base. I'm not really under any threat. I guess the one main threat that he doesn't know about is whether there's Hive or not, but he's hit his +2 armor power spike. He's going into +3 weapon, and we do have a lot of Archons being morphed also. So now finally he gets out onto the map, but this is a big arc. A lot of Hydras, a lot of Lurkers. It's going to be really tough to engage this. This is the engagement that Zerg's looking for. Oh, the DT. I was just about to say that, you know what I would really like is a DT to sneak across, and it has. But we've got a lot of storms in the center of the map. I'm going to keep my eye on this red dot to see if he's making a move, and he does. And he's going to get into this mineral line, and there is about 20 workers right here. If Mini can just draw the attention on the left side while he just eviscerates everything over here. Oh my gosh, the econ just getting crushed. Good storms in the center. There's still no reaction for that DT. Storms hitting all the Hydras. Look at the supply plummet. It was basically even a moment ago. Now it's a 40 supply lead, and workers are about to be evened up 42 to 40 right now. DT into this base. He's going to see this is mined out, so he's going to shut down 2 bases. Oh my gosh. 18 kills on 1 DT, and supplies have plummeted, and there it is, the GG. I can't believe that Action ended up losing that game. It looked like he was in such a great position, but impeccable defense by Mini. Despite having the drops constantly in his natural and his third base, didn't lose his cool. Despite losing his Forge and his Templar Archive, he was still able to just trade so effectively with his comp, and it led to a victory. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that ZvP, and we'll be back with another cast in the near future.